Okay, coming to the topic, the point which we are going to discuss is known as Amoretti, isn't it? Amoretti, Amoretti, right? So the title Amoretti, that's what. Now, why the poem title name is called as Amoretti? The word Amoretti comes from the Latin term Latin, Greek and Latin. So, but at the same time, most of the words do not come from the Greek or Latin. They come out from the foreign term. Like Amoretti will be known as a Italian word, not the Latin or Greek. It is known as the Italian word, which is known as Amoretti, right? And if you translate the word, right? If you translate, if you translate the word in English, it is known as a little loves, right? What is that? Little loves. So, or you can say that a little cupid, cupids, little cupids. It is the title of a collection of what? 89 sonnets. How many sonnets? 89 sonnets. Now, what do you mean by sonnet? Sonnets are nothing but called as a series of songs or songs, you can say that. So, and this 89 sonnets, which are written by whom? Edmund Spenser. Who is the poet? Edmund Spenser. Edmund, Edmund Spenser. Spencer. Right. Edmund Spenser. Right. Who is the poet of the poem Amoretti. Right. And if you talk about Amoretti, which means called as a little love or little cupids, right? And it is the title of what? A collection of 89 poems or sonnets. So, which is dedicated to each, which is dedicated. So, this poem or sonnet is dedicated to, sonnets are dedicated to his courtship. Whose courtship? That called as a Edmund Spenser's courtship or partner, right? And eventually marriage to Elizabeth Boyle, right? Elizabeth Boyle. So who is Elizabeth Boyle? Is the wife of Edmund Spenser. Fine. And you would find out these 89 sonnets are devoted to, or means you can say that what dedicated to means his wife, right, Elizabeth Boyle. So the title Amoretti is appropriate here. Why? Because the sonnets explore. Explore means what? Reveal. What does it reveal? The sonnets explore various aspects of or various ways of romantic love, right? So, romantic love, courtship, admiration, and desire, longing, wants, emotional, you can say that turmoil. Emotional turmoil means what? Emotional imbalance, right? And hope, right? So, these are the couple of things romantic love, courtship, admiration, longing, emotional imbalance, or called as emotional turmoil, and hope. Now, keeping these are the things, right? In that particular set of sonnets, the poem means named as the Amoretti, right? All components of what can be considered, all are nothing but called as what? Now, all are nothing but the components. Components means called as a, you would find out small elements that indicate little loves, right? So, or aspect of love. Aspect means qualities of love. Like if you talk about love, what is that? Romanticides, romantic is there. Courtship, means you can say that marriage is also there, partnership is also there. Admiration, so when you love somebody, you admire her or him. So, and longing desire to get her, right? And emotional imbalance. So when you do not get, or when you have a kind of a fight right? So you find out there is a kind of a that's imbalance, emotional imbalance, isn't it? And hope. So you always have a hope to get her, right? Get her back. If she means left you, so you always have a hope to get back, isn't it? Now, if you talk about the justification of the title, right? So, what is that title? Amoretti. So, for the point, you can point out that Amoretti is a representation of what? Romantic love, right? Emotional status of the love, right? So, or you can say moments of love, or you can say that what a connection to Cupid and love trial. Let's think of this one. When I say the title Amoretti, it is fitting for Sonnet 34. So we know that series of sonnets are written, 89 sonnets are written. But Amoretti is fitting for Sonnet 34, right? Why? Because it falls under the broader theme of love. Broader means what? Uh, that called as a big insights or big in description or used in description. So of love. And that defines the collection. That defines what? The collection. The sonnet that goes deeper into the emotion of a lawyer. Lawyer means what? That's something called as a person who feels loyal, who feels lost, right? And you can say that disoriented, right? Disoriented, disoriented means what? That called as a who lost everything, right? Due to a temporary separation. So he got into a grief, he got into a emotional turmoil, right? So why? Because of temporary separation. What do you mean by temporary separation? It's not the permanent separation. Temporary means for a short period of time, right? So from whom? From his beloved, isn't it? So which is an experience. So you would find out it is an experience that results or resonates with the idea of little loves, right? So or the struggles and the joys that love provides. Okay. Now, if you look into the emotional status, right? Emotional status or emotional states in love. So, what we can find out, the word Amoretti suggests various facets or various, you can say that various weights of what? Love, both sweet and challenging moments. Love, both sweet and challenging moments, right? So, in Sonnet 34, Amoretti, the poet presents the emotional state of being in love, being in love. So, being in love as a journey. So, you consider that love is what? A journey, right? That can involve, and in that journey, what do you find out? You find out misleading, confusion, right? Or you can say that sadness, despair, and hope. Confusion, sadness, despair, and hope, isn't it? So, and this aligns or this points out with the kind of a contextual meaning of Amoretti. So, if I say that the meaning of Amoretti contextually, so I can say that the meaning of Amoretti is called as a confusion, despair, and hope, right? So, now if I go to the next one, Amoretti also indicating moments of love, right? Moments of love. The term little loves, the term little loves or little cupids that indicate Amoretti, so can also indicate the fleeting, Fleeting. The meaning of fleeting is called as a passing quickly, right? Delicate moments within a larger love story. So, if you talk about that, if you there is a beautiful saying that if you want to know about how time flies, then think of it waiting for a waiting for a lover, waiting for a lover. You find out that time doesn't fly there, right? Your lover has not come, and you wait. for her, and you find out that time doesn't go. Even 30 minutes seems like 3 hours. But at the same time, if you want to look at that, when time flies, you feel like what one day you spent with your lover seems like 1 hour, right? You don't know how time flies so quickly, right? You want that you want to spend more time with him or her, right? That is what called as a love, right? And here, when we talk about little loves as a moments of love, so in that case, the poet wants to point out the fleeting, passing quickly, delicate moments, right? Delicate means called very soft and very sweet moments where you talk to your lover in a very, romantic manner, and those are the moments where which you nostalgically remember, or remembering the past, how you spent your time with your lover, isn't it? So you can say that Sonnet 34 captures such a moment, right? A time of emotional turbulence, like when you have a kind of a hard time with your lover, right? So when the poet feels lost, right? So, but remains hopeful. So when you feel like what your lover is going away from you and you lost yourself, but still have a hopeful. Hopeful means what? There is a hope that one day she comes back, right? This moment is just one of many in the tapestry of love, right? So aptly captured under the umbrella of Amoretti. So that the little o is known as nothing but a means of Amoretti, isn't it? Now, if I go with the next one, it's called as a connection of cupids, right? So what do I talk about? I am talking about how Amoretti title is justified. And when we talk about the title is justified, so we feel like what these are the things which are connected to the Amoretti. So the fourth one is stated love trials, connection cupids and love trials. What do you mean by connection to cupid and love trial? Now, Amoretti influenced the image of cupid, right? Amoretti does what? Now influences the names of cupid. So who is Cupid? Cupid is none other than the Roman god of love. The Roman god of love. So that is why connection to Cupid. So it means you are connecting to the god who is none other than Roman god, right? Who is often depicted. So the Roman god of love, Cupid, is often depicted or indicated as what? A mischievous child. A mischievous. What do you mean by mischievous? The meaning of mischievous is called as a notorious. Notorious child with a bow and arrow. With a bow and arrow. So you must have seen that the love sign, right? So that's called as nothing but arrow, bow and arrow, right? So it is none other than God, right? So and it's the weapon you can say. So mischievous child with a bow and arrow and influencing people's emotion. And what does it do? Now, obviously, if the god of love, Cupid, is blessed to you, then what does it do? Now, it always influence you. It always influence you with full of emotion, right? And you feel like what there is some kind of attraction towards others, right? So that, and you understand that you have been blessed by the god of love, Cupid. So the sonnet Amoretti, including sonnet 34, that explores how love can lead. Love can lead to what? Love can lead to both joy and sorrow. Both joy and sorrow. Obviously, love carries that. Much like how Cupid's arrow can bring both pleasure and pain, right? So if it influences you, then you get the pleasure. But if you loses it, you get the pain, isn't it? So that's why. The next you could find out that called the personal journey of love, right? Now we understood that why it is called the Amoretti connection to Cupid. Next is called the personal journey of love. When we talk about personal journey of love, so personal journey means whom do you refer to? You refer to the poet. Who is the poet? Edmund Spenser, right? And it is the personal experience or journey of love for the poet, right? So for Spenser, the Amoretti sonnets were a poetic journey. It's a poetic journey of his own love life. So especially his courtship, right, or friendship with Elizabeth Boyle, right, and marriage to her. Sonnet 34 reflects his personal struggles, right? Personal struggles means whose personal struggles? Edmund Spenser's personal struggles with, with his love, right? So the uncertainties means something that he never imagines and hopes that he will always associate with his love, right? Accompany love, justifying the collection title as exploration of his little loves. Isn't it? Collection of small exploration, right, is known as a little loves. In all total, if you talk about the title Amoretti, it's justified. Why? Because it covers the themes of love. It covers what? The themes of love, both in a soft and tumultuous imbalance. Soft, right, tender, and tumultuous, right? Explored throughout the sonnet, explored throughout all the poems which he wrote, right, including Sonnet 34. And it reflects the, full of emotions, right, trials, right, suffering, and hopes, right, hopes that characterize the poet's experience of it. Isn't it? Now, this is called as the question's answer, that why the title Amoretti is given to this poem, this sonnet, right? So, as we have understood about the justification and the reason behind. Now, let's come to the poet. Who is the poet? Edmund Spenser, and we will come to know more about him. Now, if you talk about Edmund Spenser, was born in the year of 1552 and 1552 or 1553 to till 1599. It means his birthday is called as birthday is called as 52, 53, right? 1500, 1552 to 1553, and died the year of 1599. So he was an English poet and widely famous for his what? Significant contribution. Significant means what? Now most of his contribution to English literature, right? So especially during the Elizabethan era. So you can say that one. Spenser, Edmund Spenser, contribution to English literature during the Elizabethan era, right? So in that era can be known as the 16th century, right? 16th century. He is best known for his one of the beautiful poem or epic poem, which is called as the Fairy Queen. The Fairy Queen. So one of the longest poems in the English language and a masterpiece of allegorical writing. What do you mean by allegorical? Symbolism, right? Now, got my point? So if you talk about Edmund Spenser, early life and education, right? What do you find out? He was born in London, right? Spenser was educated at the merchant tellers school, and later he attended a college called as a Pembroke College, Cambridge. So now these are nothing but a couple of things that you need to know, where he earned his Bachelor of Arts and Master of Arts degrees, BA and MA, right? So his education exposed him to classical literature. So what are the literature area, or what are the area where he got famous? You would find out classical literature. You would also find out Renaissance, humanism, And also you would find out various forms of poetry, various forms of poetry that move, shaping his own poetic style. Got my point? So if you talk about his literary career means what? That called as what are the literature that he wrote. So Spenser's early work or initial work or beginning of his work, it's called as the Shepherd's Calendar, one of the poem. So it was written in the year of 1579, and that brought him immediate, popularity as a poet, right? And why? Because you would find out if you talk about the Shepherd's Calendar, it carries with nothing but a 12 you can say that consisted of 12 pastoral poems. Now, what do you mean by pastoral? The meaning of pastoral is known as a rural, right? Pastoral. Pastoral means rural, right? So, rural poems, right? So, because you find out the term, it is stated that the shepherd's calendar, right? Now, each poem representing a what? A month of the year, because 12 poems, 12 months, right? And it is showcased here his skill in using a variety of poetic forms and themes, right? Now, his most celebrated work, what is his most celebrated work? The Fairy Queen, that was published in the year of 1519, and eventually, when you would find out that latter expanded till 1596, 1590 to 1596, and he was dedicated to Queen Elizabeth, right? Because we know that it was the time of Elizabethan era. So he was dedicated to Queen Elizabeth I, and it's considered a national epic of England. Like he is nothing but a jewelry to England. And the poem is an allegorical representation of the virtues, qualities. Right? Allegorical representation means what? Symbolism, representation of the qualities, and it's celebrated for its intricate form or deeper idea, right? Not only deeper idea, rich language. So the language which are also very sophisticated, right? And clear imagery. Images are also. Now, if you talk about the poem Amoretti, where Edmund Spenser's contribution. Now, if I talk about the Amoretti sonnet sequence, if I say Amoretti was published in the year of 1595, right? We understood that he wrote 89 poems, 89 sonnets, right? And sonnet 34 is one of them. And the poem began in the year of 1590 to 1596, and Amoretti was written 1595. So, and it is as we understood that it is a collection of 89 poems, sonnets, and they detail Spenser's courtship. Spenser's courtship means Spenser's marital affair, right? Marital affair and eventually marriage to Elizabeth Boyle, right? So the title Amoretti translates to little loves, and you can say little cupids, and the sonnet explores nothing but the various aspects of romantic love, right? And lunging and devotion, love, lunging, devotion. Now, not like the sonnet sequences of his time. So at his time also it was not written like that, right? Which often focused on what? Unrequited love, right? Unrequited love. Or Spenser's Amoretti ends on a joyful note with the celebration of his marriage as reflected the companion point, right? Companion point means with Amoretti. He also read another sonnet which is called as a companion point, and it is known as an epithalamo, right? So epithala, not mom, mio. Epithalamion. 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 Right. It is called as again another point beside Amoretti. Right. So, and if you talk about now, did you understand that how Amoretti was written and what is the time when it was introduced and what this Amoretti is all about? Right. Now, if you talk about the next one, what is the style? What is the influence? Right. What is the style and what are the influences that you find out when you are reading the poem called Amoretti, right? So Spencer is known for what? For its unique writing, right? So from called the Spenserian stanza, and that is why, like we say, no, William Shakespeare, Shakespearean era, right? Shakespeare's poem. Similar to that, we also talk about the Spenserian stanza, right? Which consists of what? 9 lines. So you can see that this poem also covered with the 9 lines, right? 8 lines of iambic pentameter. What do you mean by iambic pentameter? The meaning of iambic pentameter is called as in each line, right? You would find out 5 vowels could be present, right? So 8 lines of iambic pentameter that followed by a single alexandrine or a line of iambic hexameter. So pentameter means 5. Hexameter could refer to uh, what? What do we say that? Hexa. Hexa. I forgot that. Hexameter. Yeah. So hexameter is known as a line of 6, right? 6 feet, right? So do you understand that when you say that pentameter 5, say hexameter 6, right? So 6 feet most often dactylic and found in classical Latin or Greek poetry. Even you also take another example, Homer, right? Homer's poem, right? Also covered with nothing but a hexameter. Now look into it. When I talk about the style and influences, what we can find out is a poetry is you can say that covered with imagery, allegory, and an elaborate use of what? Archaic language. Archaic means old English, right? So he drew inspiration from the classical poets like Virgil, right? Homer, and Ovid. So Virgil, Homer, Ovid, who are they? They are known as the poets also, right? So from there he got inspired. Who got inspired? Means Spencer. So, and we understood that what means his poems are generally known as a Spenserian stanza, right? So, fine. Well, as well as contemporary Renaissance poets. So, you can talk about that. Means Edmund Spenser, inspired inspired by whom? By Homer, Virgil, Ovid, and some of the Renaissance poets, right? So Spencer's work reflects a deep engagement. Spencer's works are what? Now making you to engage in a way, engage with the themes such as love, morality, politics, and religion. Love, morality, religion, and politics, right? So in his poems are like that, right? So, and that is why you would say that what Amoretti is a poem which is filled with nothing but a love, right? Filled with nothing but a morality, filled with nothing but a what do we say that kind of a means emotional turbulence, isn't it? So now, if you talk about Edmund Spenser's personal legacy, life and legacy. Now, when we talk about personal life and legacy, so we are talking about personal life. So Spenser spent much of his life in where? Ireland. Now we understand he born and brought up in London. Cambridge is the place where he studied, right? Now he spent much of his time where? In Ireland, right? So in Ireland, Spenser spent much of his time or much of his life and he serves as a civil servant. Civil servant in a way, various capacity. Various capacity means various positions. right, that influenced some of his work, including a view of the present state of Ireland. A view of the present state of the island. What is that? That is known as a kind of a writing, which he did. A view of the present state of Ireland. So his marriage to Elizabeth Boyle. Who is she? Elizabeth Boyle was the wife of Edmund Spenser. Uh, so Elizabeth Boyle inspired the Amoretti to write. So what is that Amoretti? Sonnet, right? So sonnets and the epithalamion, right, which is nothing but a highly praised marriage hymn. Now, if you talk about love and marriage, right, love refers to what? Amoretti. Marriage refers to epithalamion, right? So, highly praised marriage hymn. So, these are two different points in connected love and marriage. So, Spenser died in the year of 1599 in London and was buried. Buried, you understand? Buried means what? When somebody died, you follow the funeral process, right? So he was buried. Buried means in a church ground where he was. Uh, the soil was dig and he was buried into it. So in that case, it is stated that he was buried in a Westminster Abbey. Westminster. What is that? Westminster Abbey is nothing but the name of the place in the Poets' Corner, and that place is famous for what? Famous for all the greatest poets, right? So who have died, so they have been buried there. So therefore, it is known as a Poets' Corner. Poets' Corner, right? We used to say that city corner, right? So or called as a grocery corner, where all the grocery items are there. Similar to that, you talk about Poets' Corner, where all the famous poets are buried, right? Signifying his importance in English literature. So that indicates that they have contributed something to the English literature. Right. Now, if you talk about the next one, that's called as the impact and influence. Right. What is its impact and influence? Because you did work, you died, and after that, your impact, because you will know the original value of yours, right? You would not be there, but people will be means, understood the value. People will understand the value of other when they they find out that after his death or after her death, right? Her death, what happened? People start talking good or bad. People start talking good or bad. If they speak good, it means you did good, you did well, right? If you did bad, then people start speaking negative about you, isn't it? So therefore, means it's impact and influence. Now, often referred to as the poet's poet. Now, what do you mean by with the poet's poet? Like we say, teacher's teacher. Means my teacher, I am a teacher who taught to somebody and he became another teacher. Right? He became the teacher now. Now, what happened here? Teacher's teacher. Right? So, similar to that, the poet's poet. Now, when you say that poet's poet, it means you consider somebody who is a master. Right? So Spenser influenced many latter poets because people learn from him, like he learned from William Shakespeare, right? So including John Milton, John Keats, and Alfred Lord Tennyson, right? So who are they? We know John Keats, nature lover. We know John Milton, who is nothing but again called as a Paradise Lost, and we talk about Alfred Lord Tennyson, right? Again called as another sociable, convivial poet, or called as a mankind or people-loving person, right? So, and if you talk about Edmund Spenser, you can say that his innovative use of language in the poem, innovative means that somebody cannot imagine, right? New use of language, themes, and you talk about allegory. Allegory is a poetic device. So that called as a symbolism that has made his work, what a cornerstone or a called as a heartstone for English Renaissance literature. English Renaissance literature. So you can say that Edmund Spenser's poetry remains celebrated for its creativity and you can say that complexity, right, and depth, right, and depth. So making him one of the most important figures in the history of English literature, right? So you can say that his works reflect a mystery. You can say that mastery of what? Mastery of form and content. So the how beautifully he narrates and blending or mixing nothing but a classical influences. Classical influences means called as a past, right? Old and new, mixed of it, right? It indicates that he is concerned of time, right? Okay, he is concerned of his time, isn't it? Now, this is what known as the why the title Amoretti, who is the poet, and how he makes such kind of a contribution, isn't it? We'll discuss the Amoretti poem line by line in the next class, right? That's all. Thank you. We'll discuss the overall point or line by line the point in the next. I only discuss what is that point Amoretti is, the background of it, and the poet means who is the poet and how means he comes with such kind of a beautiful. Okay. Please. You don't have any other class today?